Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Chiwike Manuel Ikechukwu, an integrative psychotherapist and couples counselor. And here on this channel, we talk about real emotional experiences, the ones people often keep buried or feel too ashamed to speak about. And today, I want to talk to you about something I see all the time, not just in my clients, but in people in general, which is emotional burnout. And more specifically, 3 signs you might be emotionally burnt out without even realizing it. Now, burnout isn't always dramatic. It doesn't always look like a breakdown. Sometimes it's quiet. It creeps in. It builds up slowly. And by the time we notice it, we've already been carrying it for far too long. So, if you've been feeling off, disconnected, easily irritated, or just emotionally exhausted, this video is for you. And if you find this video helpful, I really appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep making these videos for you. Like the video if it resonates and leave a comment below. Let me know which sign you relate to, or if you're experiencing burnout in your own life. All right, let's get into it. You feel or feeling emotionally numb or disconnected. This is the 4th sign. Let's start with this 4th sign, and often the most confusing sign. You feel emotionally numb or disconnected. Now, this isn't always easy to recognize. Most of us expect burnout to feel like being overwhelmed or breakdown, but often emotional burnout shows up as the absence of emotion. You're not crying, you're not shouting, you're just really flat. You're flat. You go through the day, you do what needs to be done. You might smile, you might even laugh, but deep down inside, something feels disconnected. Something isn't right within you, and you know it. Like the switch that used to light up your joy, passion, or excitement has been turned off. People around you might say, "You've changed. You don't seem like yourself anymore." Or the classic one we hear all the time, "You used to be so full of life." And maybe you don't know how to explain it because you can't point to anything obvious. You are just tired. Not the physical kind, but the emotional kind that feels like it's woven into your bones. I once had a client, I'll call his or her name Grace, who had spent the last 2 years juggling work, raising 2 children, and caring for her aging mother. She said to me, "I know I love my mom, but when she calls me, I feel nothing. I just feel empty." She, that is Grace, she wasn't uncaring. She was just burnt out. When we constantly pour out ourselves emotionally, mentally, relationally, physically, or spiritually, etc., without replenishment, the emotional part of us starts to shut down to protect itself. It's a form of survival. And here is the truth most people don't want to hear or don't even know. Feeling nothing is not the absence of caring. It's the cost of caring too much for too long without rest for you who is giving the care. So if you feel numb, it feels like, or life feels flat, you are saying, "I'm not myself lately." Your nervous system might be telling you it's time to pause. It's time to pause. You don't need to do more. You need to feel safe enough to rest. So the first sign is that you feel emotionally numb or disconnected. Okay? Now the second sign is that you are overwhelmed by the smallest things. The second sign of emotional burnout is when small things feels huge. For example, you spill your coffee and you feel like screaming. Your child asks you a simple question and it makes you snap. You forgot or forget your login password and suddenly you want to cry. Let me tell you, this is one of the most common ways emotional burnout shows up, especially in people who are otherwise very capable and high functioning. Because what's really happening these days, your emotional threshold, your bandwidth is maxed out. The everyday stressors that you'd normally be able to handle now feels like the final straw. And I want to be very clear. that doesn't make you weak. It means your cup is already full. And even a drop more one more drop feels like a flood. Let me give you another real life example. A client, let's call his name Frank, told me he completely broke down in tears one morning because he couldn't find matching socks before work. He said, I felt ridiculous. It's just socks. What's wrong with me? But the socks weren't the problem. The socks were just the tipping point. Behind the socks were weeks of stress at work, family pressures, financial strain, sleep deprivation, and unspoken emotional pain. The socks just happened to be the final layer. When you're emotionally burnt out, you lose emotional elasticity. Things don't bounce off the way they used to. They stick. They weigh you down. So if you are finding yourself overreacting to small things, not because you are irrational, but because you're overwhelmed, I want you to consider that you might be emotionally running on empty tank. You are just flat. Burnout isn't just about what you are doing, it's also about what you are holding in. Remember, the second sign is you are overwhelmed by the smallest things. Okay? Now, the third one is you are losing your sense of self. And probably the most painful. And that is you don't feel like yourself anymore. This goes beyond mood. It touches something deeper. You might say, well, I don't know who I am anymore. I used to be so passionate. Where did that go? I don't even know what I enjoy these days. This is something I hear often, especially from people who spend most of their time caring for others, like their parents, like teachers, like therapists, like me, leaders. They are so busy meeting everyone else's needs, being strong for others, managing crises, keeping things together, that their own identity begins to blur. I once walked with a woman who said, I used to love painting, but I lose track of time doing it. Now I don't even remember the last time I picked up a brush. Burnout doesn't just exhaust your body, it drains you your sense of meaning. It slowly pulls you away from the things that make you feel you. When we're emotionally burnt out, we tend to live on autopilot. We go through motions. We show up, but we are not really there. We perform life, but we no longer experience it. So if you've lost your curiosity, if you've lost your creativity, your laughter, that might be your spirit asking for a rest, a return, a moment to remember who you are beneath all the demands and expectations. And maybe that starts with one small thing: going for a walk alone, journaling for 10 minutes, sitting in silence without your phone. Reconnecting with yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So let's bring it all together. The 3 signs you might be emotionally burnt out. Number 1, you feel emotionally numb or disconnected. Number 2, small things feel overwhelming. And number 3, you are losing yourself or your sense of self. And if any of these sounds familiar, I want to say this again, that you are not weak, you are not broken, you are not a failure, you are just tired. And you've likely been carrying more than anyone knows that you are. Burnout doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you've been strong for too long, often without enough support, enough rest, or room to simply be who you are. Okay, if you've listened this far, I want to thank you. Because listening to this, staying present with this topic shows a willingness to understand yourself. That's the first step towards healing. If this video speaks to you, I'd love for you to do a few things. Subscribe to the channel. I create contents to help you better understand your emotions and relationships. and also inner world. Leave a comment below. Let me know which sign you relate to most. I personally read every comment, and your words might help someone else feel less alone. And finally, share this video with someone who might be struggling in silence. Emotional burnout is so common, but it doesn't have to be carried alone. Take care of yourself. You matter more than you know. I'll see you in the next video where I'll do part 2 on how to deal with emotional burnout. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.